Hi, it's Ed Kaminsky. We're reporting on the Palos Verdes Peninsula Marketplace and what is happening as of October 25. So we've pulled the stats up through the end of September where we had a full month of activity to be able to report on, and all the way back an entire year to see how we compare year to year. So very interesting what we're seeing right now is on the homes for sale versus sold. This is about as even of a market I've seen over the course of a year. That red line in the middle is very straight. That means the number of homes selling per month is just equal throughout the whole year. And you'll see there was a dip in inventory in December, as there always is, as far as what is for sale. And then it jumped up and it stays relatively flat for the course of the year. But there still is a gap of the number of homes for sale versus what is actually selling, which is creating a little bit of softness in the market in the Palos Verdes Peninsula. Now, let's get a little bit closer on average price per square foot. What are prices doing? So if we're looking at year over year, we can see there's between a 1.5% and a 4.2% drop on prices per square foot over the course of the last year. So of the South Bay marketplaces, the four major ones, you have Manhattan, Hermosa, Redondo, and Palos Verdes. Palos Verdes is the only one that saw a slight reduction in prices over the last year, but pretty small, between 1 and 4%. Now let's look at average days on market. How's it doing? I'm going to assume this was going to look flat, and it is flat. The average days on market right here right now is about 44 days is the average days on market. And we are looking at year over year, it was 36. So it did increase from 36 days in the market to 44. Not massive. It's certainly an increase. I would expect if you're putting your house up for sale in Palos Verdes Peninsula, whether it's Palos Verdes Estates, Rancho Palos Verdes, Rolling Hills, or Rolling Hills Estates, it's going to take a little bit longer than it did last year, but it's still a reasonable period of time. Now this, if you've ever seen any of my other reports as reporting in the beach cities, this line is very unique to Palos Verdes. What we have seen, the green line is what the expectation of, those are the asking prices, the red line is the sales prices. Basically, green is what sellers are expecting to sell for, and red is what buyers are willing to pay. That's a gap. And that gap has not changed. So there is this significant gap in Palos Verdes right now where sellers want to be and where buyers want to be, and they're just fighting each other, not getting there. You see a little bit of trend towards the last month of September where the sellers edged down a tiny bit, the buyers edged up a little bit, but we still have a significant gap. Until those lines touch, we're still going to have those sellers fighting buyers when it comes to price. We'll watch that trend continue. And the final stat to look at for Palos Verdes, of course, is months of inventory. That's also called absorption rate. So the absorption rate is the period of time all inventory would sell if nothing else came for sale. How many months of inventory of homes are on the market? And you can see with this that there are 3.4 to 3.7 months of inventory on the market. This is contrary to the last chart we looked at because it's ultimately saying we are still leaning to between a seller's market and a balanced market. So it's not a buyer's market. No one's going out there stealing inventory. So a relatively balanced market with about 4 months of inventory for sale right now. That'll close up the Palos Verdes Peninsula report. We'll see how the next quarter goes. We'll be reporting back. And more importantly, we are going to be doing a look ahead for 2026 and where I see that market going and what those trends will likely be. We'll be doing that in January live, and we'll get back to you with a link for that opportunity if you want to see that live. This is Ed Kaminsky reporting out. Thank you very much for watching.